Hello everyone, so yesterday I was finally able to attend a screening of Pearl. This movie is about an hour and 45 minutes long, and it is a prequel to the movie that came out earlier this year known as X, which also was directed by T.I. West and starred Mia Goth. Of course, this is the origin story of the character Pearl from that movie in her early days, kind of after the little bit of a twist and almost time-bending kind of twist that that movie had. So yes, without further ado, let me get into my review for Pearl. So I really enjoyed X when it came out. I found it was just a great throwback to 70s slasher films that had really great directing and cinematography and music, just basically everything put together in it. I found was really well done. So I was very excited when they had that trailer at the end of the film for Pearl, and I was very excited to see more of her origin and how she came into being and how she became the person that she was. And literally the description of this movie is backstory and how Pearl became the person she was. So this film takes place in 1918. Pearl lives on a farm very isolated from town with her mom and her dad. Her dad is extremely sick. Her mom is very hard on her and expects too much, way too much for anyone to really have any realistic expectations. And her husband is away at war. So she has dreams of becoming a big star one day in the movies, becoming a dancer, going to Hollywood, doing everything she sees on the TV or when she goes into town seeing the advert. She wants to be one of those girls who becomes a star and travels the world, sees the world, experiences the world, but she is very much held back from doing so within her, of course, just the confines of her family farm. And it's just a bit of an origin about how she finally snaps, what gets her to snap, and again to just how ruthless she becomes, the origin to that. So geez, this was a bit of a slow film, definitely a slow burn in a good way, where it builds up to something that I found was really extraordinary. But I found that in terms of its slowness and again, that's just that really slow pacing, it did make this movie a little predictable in many ways. I was able to kind of call out things that were going to happen, who was going to die, and just kind of all those things. But I found it was always in ways that I wanted it to go. I mean, from being a prequel, there's always going to be that expectation that you're going to know a little bit about how events are going to transpire and play out. But I found too, like I said, it was just done in very well done way and in ways that I wanted it to. It is very brutal, and you do really get to get into the mind of the character thanks to the great writing, of course, by T.I. West, but the unbelievably amazing and terrifying portrayal of the character by Mia Goth. I found she was really good in X, but in Pearl on another level. She was amazing with her facial expressions, her shaky body language, and again too just almost transforming in scenes that she needed to. There's a bunch of really great scenes, but especially near the end of this movie, there's one almost, it felt like a 10-15 minute long one take dialogue sequence that she has where she's just explaining all the things she's done throughout the film and the reasons why she did it the way she feels inside. And again too, just the delivery in terms of her outside, her inside, her voice, everything was spectacular. And there's a few scenes in this that actually just made me, like, I was genuinely kind of scared watching it and definitely off put by a lot of what she was doing on the screen because it was just so effective. There's one scene just to do with, I'll just say, with an egg, and then the very final shots of this, just her facial expressions were, like I said, just fucking terrifying. And again too, when it comes down to the horror of it, I found it was very good. And again too, where X was a really good rendition of 70s horror, this was a very good rendition of just kind of that brutalistic horror that you see in movies from the 30s and beforehand. I found it was just very good. It felt very real, extremely visceral. There are some kills in this and just kind of mutilation of dead bodies and things that was, again, just very unsettling and off-putting. And just kind of too seeing her performance be so happy by the way she's doing things, so proud of the way that she's doing things, again to just mix with, again, just the very morbid scenery that's placed around everything was just very well put into place. And again, just extremely unsettling, which it was going for, and it did a very good job. Again, so they've set up this kind of nuanced character with Pearl and Maxine. And again, too, now there's going to be a third movie in this franchise called Maxine, which is going to come out, I'm assuming, next year. But I've been loving the journey so far that Ti West and Mia Goth has been able to put us through, and yeah, just absolute stellar performance from her in both movies, but especially in Pearl. She truly understood this character and killed it in everything that she was doing. So really, with everything taken together, I'm gonna have to give Pearl 7 out of 10. It is a very, very strong horror movie that's very slow but extremely unsettling and effective in everything that it aims to do. It's just so damn good, and I just really have to recommend it to anyone who liked X. It's definitely toned down a lot from the sexual themes that that movie had. There's still some of that's in this, but just done in a very, very dang good way that just, again, too, excited me in a lot of ways and just made me very, very, like, again, just unsettled in the best ways possible, in the most effective way possible throughout this film. So definitely check this one out. Of course, if you have seen this film, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you like this review, give it a thumbs up, and you can check out everything that I do on this channel. Links and playlists up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out the description of this video on my channel bio, there's a link to the Media Mountain, and that is where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, my Discord, and yeah, just basically everything awesome in this world. So if you want to join that amazing community, I'll make it even more amazing than it is already. That'd be absolutely amazing. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time sinking into the side.